For more, let me bring back in NewsNation political contributor Denise Gitsham for more on this. Denise, you and I have been talking all morning long about what this speech is going to be, what its focus is. Do you think the message is going to fall flat if the focus isn't war and affordability and real, kitchen table issues that Americans are talking about at home?
I'm not sure that it'll necessarily fall flat. I think people are interested. I mean, 80%, the polls show at least, 80% of Americans really want to have fair and free elections. This is not about whether or not the issue resonates with Americans. It's about whether or not it's the most important thing to them right now. And it clearly is not. Every poll shows that we care more about bringing prices down and making life more affordable than we do about talking about what happened in 2020 or even trying to fix what's coming ahead, which, again, it's sad that we can't walk and chew gum, but everyone has limited attention spans, and they've got to address the most pressing issue now, which is affordability.
Yeah, and I feel like the president could touch on safe and fair elections or the SAVE Act without going back to 2020.
Yeah.
Do you expect him to actually kind of, rehash that specific election in tonight's very rare primetime speech?
I mean, would it be President Trump if he didn't? Let's be honest. Like, we know that he's got an axe to grind, and he's not going to stop grinding it until he gets his points out. And actually, I think that some good can come out of that, a lot of good, because I think that whenever you have secrecy around any sort of classified documents regarding something as sacred as our democracy and the trustworthiness of our elections, that undermines confidence in Americans in our democratic system. But whenever you have more transparency, that actually builds confidence. So this is a win for Americans. The only point that I'm trying to reiterate is that it's not that it's not important, it's not the main thing. And right now, Republicans have no time to waste on anything but the main thing. And again, you and I have been talking all morning. It is about the economy, stupid.
And yeah, it goes back to that line, every election, no matter midterm, general. Talk to me about Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You and I were discussing, her comments leading up to tonight's speech. She is urging caution to the media about playing this and giving a platform for these unfounded election claims from 2020. What do you make of the comments that she's making?
Yeah, well, anytime people are talking about censoring before you even know what the president's going to say, and she admitted herself that she has no idea what he's going to say. Nobody's leaking in the White House. J.D. Vance isn't leaking. Caroline Leavitt's not leaking. So she certainly doesn't have a direct line in understanding what the president's going to say, and she admitted that. And yet, she told a journalist that she said, we should not have the president. You should consider not running something that might, not align, I guess, with her perspective on election integrity, which, as we know, as a Democrat, she's not in support of voter ID. She's not in support of the things that 80% of Americans are in support of. So I think it's really rich to be all about ensuring that we have safe and fair elections, and then to tell people, tell journalists that they shouldn't cover anything that the president might reveal about previously classified information that speaks to the truth of what people are asserting or even conspiring about. I just think that there's such a double standard that she's proposing. You can't be a safeguard of democracy by trying to censor speech.
Do you think the president will touch much on war tonight?
I cannot imagine him not speaking about what's going on. I mean, we're watching the headlines all morning, right? We're seeing that this is, day 6 of strikes that we're hitting them. It's relentless what we're doing. And then, of course, there's a great news story that we all celebrate about the Iranian-American woman who was returned to California. Yeah. There's so much happening, and it's all very confusing. We need the commander-in-chief to tell us what's actually going on, whether you believe him or agree with him or not. We do need to get some clarity, because in the absence of that clarity from the person who's making those decisions, people make up all sorts of wild conspiracies. And we can't afford to have that right now when we need national unity.
Yeah, we'll see if he tells us where we are in the conflict, where we're all headed next. Denise Gitsham, thank you so much for joining me all morning long. Really appreciate seeing you, my friend. We'll check back in soon. And everybody, be